Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. The host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by John Klymshyn. John Klymshyn's an author, speaker, and coach. Good friend of the show.
Very happy to be called that. Yes, thank you.
Probably our fifth or sixth interview, maybe more, huh?
Yeah, man, we go back a long time.
We do.
Go back to the publication of a book in 2008.
That's right. John's known as Coach K, architect for growth of small companies, both in the U.S. and Canada.
Yes.
I love Canada. Did my first Ironman in Canada this year.
Really?
I love Canada.
Vancouver is
beautiful.
One of the cities one of the world's great cities.
Yeah, without a doubt. Went to Whistler.
Man.
Oh, air clear. I know you focus on servant leadership and the selling, all about selling.
Yes, because leadership is a sales job.
The best-selling book, I'm not done bragging about you, best-selling book, Move the Sale Forward, 2003, yes. Ultimate Sales Manager's Guide. I love this one, though. This is the one we first interviewed. How to Sell Without Being a Jerk.
How to Sell Without Being a Jerk. And people see the cover and they say, does that mean that I have to be a jerk in order to sell? And the answer is no.
No, you absolutely don't.
This is what we're trying to prevent.
Exactly. And you recently started up Klymshyn's Your Startup Advisor podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
We're going to jump on our first segment. What do companies do that are growing that need sales managers?
Well, the thing about being a sales manager is that person is responsible for other people's performance. So there are key things that I think any business-to-business selling entity needs to keep in mind when they're looking to hire or to evaluate their current sales managers. There are three things that are absolutely critical. One is that sales manager has to be able to plant the flag. And what I mean by that is they have to know exactly what territory, what market, what approach to that market they want to take, and they want to live in that and focus on that and keep everything else out of their field of view. One of the things about salespeople, and of course this doesn't apply to you or I, but salespeople suffer from shiny object syndrome.
Right, shiny object syndrome.
Squirrel!
Yeah.
Whatever's happening that might be more interesting than what's in front of me, I want to go chase. And sales managers have to be able to keep salespeople focused. And salespeople are inherently creative. They're usually pretty quick.
They're entertainers.
They're entertainers, absolutely. They're performers in some way, shape, or form. And people think that in order to be successful in sales, you have to be an extrovert. They usually go together, but they're not necessarily, one will not cancel out the other.
Well, John, wouldn't you agree that some of the best sales managers have that entertainer quality, but they also have the organizational side of it, the power where they can stay organized and keep the group focused. So it's not necessarily one particular, if you will, character style.
Right.
Because a salesman is usually the entertainer, but the manager has to be organized.
The manager, in the organization that you're talking about, it's like an actor that has become a director. Right. And actors relate to people that have done some acting because they know what it takes to all of a sudden be on, as do salespeople. Mm-hmm. So a sales manager that has not sold is going to have a very hard time building credibility, building trust, building respect among their salespeople. So yes, they need to be able to perform when it's time to perform, and they need to be comfortable letting someone else get the spotlight, get the glory, get the applause.
Yeah, love that. And the challenge we run into, so let's just jump into that. You bring a great salesperson into being a sales manager. Sometimes they don't have the organizational side or the skill, and they're jumping all over the place.
Or the humility. One of my favorite quotes about succeeding as a team is you need to be humble enough to prepare, confident enough to perform. And I think that applies to athletes, it applies to leaders, it applies to salespeople. And being a sales manager means, you know what, I get my joy out of the fact that I'm helping other people be successful. And whether or not I get recognition for that is really not the issue. The issue is, if I can develop other people, that gives me a satisfaction that closing deals can't compete with. It's a very different thing. You and I both know that if we can help someone else develop as a professional and their life starts to change because their income level is increased, that stays with you for years. I mean, I've had people contact me 15 years after I met them, and they say, Coach, you have no idea how much you impacted my life. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, when I get those notes, Fred, I'll tell you, it's not as big a stack as I would like, but I'm never going to show that stack to anyone because then that would negate the whole humility thing. Yep. That's exactly right. So,
how do you be professionally, inspirationally, powerfully
Humble.
And I think that is the key.
Well, to me, it comes out of one of my favorite books that, oddly enough, I just started rereading about 3 days ago, and it's called The Purpose-Driven Life. Rick Warren wrote this beautiful piece that is, it's a 40-day exercise. Maybe it takes 11 minutes in whatever part of the day that you decide to read it to get through it. And the first sentence in it is, it's not about you. If we can live a life that is not about us, it is about the other people around us, who we serve, who we sell to, who we lead. If it's more about them than it is us, it's a very weird, what do they call it, a paradox, right? That you never feel so fulfilled as when you completely pour yourself out into someone else.
Yeah, love that. Especially during Thanksgiving. Now, you mentioned 3 things. Plant the flag.
Plant the flag.
Second
thing is set the frame.
Set the frame.
So you plant the flag, and plant the flag to me means, here's our territory. However large that territory may be, I want to know that there are boundaries to it that I don't go outside of. Because with shiny object syndrome, I'm not competing correctly if I am jumping after whatever the most recent piece of information is. I'm competing and I'm going out on the field to win if I know exactly where the boundary markers are and where the end zone is. It makes it very simple. Focus is one of the most difficult things, and if I plant the flag, then I also must set the frame. And set the frame says we have a particular type of human being that we bring into this organization. And I challenge every selling organization, specifically business-to-business sales organizations, to come together as a group, leadership, the salespeople, whoever, that says, okay, every person we hire from here on out is going to adhere to or live up to these 5 criteria. And I do this all the time. You know that I make my living by helping companies build their sales teams, and invariably, groups will come back to me with 7 or 9 or 11 words, and I say, great, when you have the 5, then we can begin. Because what that does is it really focuses their attention. And if we say, okay, we want people that are blank, 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 and blank, right? They're driven, they're competitive, they are service-oriented. Honest, exactly right. Ethical, fun. Any of those, and I'm not suggesting that should be your set of words. What I'm saying is, it is a tough exercise, and you may want to do it over lunch or outside the office, but nail down the 5 words that describe the ideal person that you want working on your sales team in the future, and you will blink and it'll be 9 months later, and everyone in the room or everyone that's covering the territory will adhere to that. And it also holds you to a standard to say, I need to be like this, and I need to demonstrate this. And I'm a huge fan of one of the words being humble. We want people that are humble enough to prepare, confident enough to perform. And I'll give credit to Tom Coughlin, 2-time Super Bowl winning coach and future Hall of Famer. I saw that in the locker room with the New York Giants, and I'll never forget it.
Confident enough to prepare, humble enough to prepare,
confident enough to perform.
Love that. Number 3. So number 1 was plant the flag. Number 2, set the frame.
Right. Number 3, make it fun. If we
need more fun in business. I tell you, we need more fun in business. I'm in the mortgage business, and the mortgage business is not fun half the time because we're asking people for more information, their 4th grade report card, their blood type. People just get tired of hearing that, right?
Right.
How do you make it fun?
Well, you find out what is important to people, and you look for things that relate to that. I make it fun because I want to outperform everything I've ever done. Number 2, I want to serve other people. I want what I do to be more about them than me. And if I have to walk them through the drudgery and the discomfort of every detail of a mortgage application, I want to ask them, okay, what's the first party you're going to have in your new house? Who is your ideal guest that you're going to entertain around your new dining room table? You should write those down, Fred, because they might work for your folks. But, that comes free with my interview. When we can get people caught up in a vision, then it's fun, because we're not telling people what to do anymore. We're drawing things out of them that they didn't know existed. You've always been a great supporter and a big fan of my sales management book, and this is really how I make my living. I was joking with your guest right before me. He asked me, what do you do? And I said, well, I write books, and then what I do is I run around all around the country and Canada, and I tell people what's in the book so they don't have to bother reading it.
But they can hire you as a consultant.
Absolutely.
I love that. We're going to jump to a quick break, but before we do, 3 key factors to hiring a sales manager, and really this topic was about, which is plant the flag, Set the frame.
Set the frame.
And make it fun. And those two quotes I love. Be humble enough
to prepare, confident enough to perform.
Love that. Ladies and gentlemen, John Klymshyn. We're going to jump to a quick break and we'll be back. We're going to talk about It's Your Startup World. This is Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.